What's up, beautiful people? My name is Nikki Geis. Welcome or welcome back to Unpretty. Thank you for being here. I really, really, really do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. You are truly helping a dream come true, and I couldn't be more grateful. This episode, I want to talk to you about the necessity for things being hard. And let me get one thing out the way quick. I'm not saying the hard is fun. I'm not saying things being hard is like what we would choose, what we would pick. However, I think if we truly think about it, we all know that if something's going to be worth something, it's most likely going to be difficult to do. And so most recently, I have the pleasure of being able to tell y'all that our varsity girls basketball team at the high school that I teach at and am assistant principal. I also get to be the head coach of the girls team. And we just won the Division 5 AA CIF championship. And I am so incredibly honored to be the coach of this team. These young women just prove time and time again why they deserve and earned this championship. And it was definitely not even close to being easy. At the beginning of the season, we lost and lost bad. And we lost to hard teams. And the thing is, you know what? We've been playing these hard teams the past few seasons, actually, at least the past 4 seasons in particular. And they're a higher division than us. A lot of these young ladies on these other teams have been playing basketball for a long time. They played together for a long time. They have a lot more resources and things than we do at our school, but we continue to play them every year. And there will probably be some people who are like, why do you continue to play these teams that beat you by 30 points, 20, 25, 30 points every year? And I've thought about that before. I've thought about not playing these schools. However, I want the girls on our team to see that there are girls just like them who can play basketball at this other level. And when we compete against them at the beginning, it gives us an opportunity to see all the things that we have to work on. So I personally think it's very, very valuable. It's just like the saying that, like, in order to be the best, you have to beat the best, right? If you are great at something, you're not going to compete against someone who's not as good as you at that, because it's not going to make you better, right? For example, LeBron James isn't going to play basketball against me, even though I know how to play the game, but he would destroy me. And that's not going to make him better at all. But I should want to play against a LeBron James because that would make me better. So I think seeing what's possible and seeing what is needed to get to the next level is a part of why you play the hard teams. And so we will continue to play these teams, and we probably will continue to get beat by a lot of points. But at the end of the day, I think it's best for our team to be playing these games. And it proved over time to be the right thing to do. So this group of seniors, we had 11 girls on our team this year, and 7 of them are seniors. 3 of them in particular have been playing since their freshman year. All 4 years they've played on the team. Their freshman year, I was their coach, and we lost all our games. And, you would think that would kind of break these girls' spirits, and it never did. I love coaching basketball. I love the game. I think that sports in particular, team sports, teaches a lot of lessons, not just about the sport, but about life. And basketball in particular has been very easy for me to teach some really important lessons to these young people that I think are incredibly important. And so I think a team is more defined by what happens when they lose rather than when they win. I think that it's easy to be up, it's easy to be positive, it's easy to be all these things when your team is winning. And I think that's the same thing in life. It's easy to be positive, optimistic, upbeat, have good energy when everything's going right for us. But I don't think that's a true definition of who somebody is. I think that a true definition of a team and a human being is how they respond to life when they're down. In this case, how our team responded when they lose and lose and lose and lose. Do they come back the next day to practice ready to learn? Do they come into the next game ready to do better, to improve, to just get 1% better in that next game and prove what they can do? That, I think, is a true definition of a team and true definition of a person. There's this movie that I love. It's a classic. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It's called A League of Their Own. And coming up being a softball player, I played softball for much longer than I played basketball. And softball players, we love the movie A League of Their Own, because it showed women playing playing baseball, right? So it's not the exact same sport, but to see women in that light and know that we are great athletes. It doesn't matter what gender you may be. A great athlete is a great athlete. And so this movie, A League of Their Own, is based on the true story of when all of the men were going to war, and so there was no baseball league. And so the women, they started a professional women's league. And it's a beautiful, beautiful story and a must watch. But one of my favorite lines in the movie is said by Tom Hanks, who happens to be the coach of the main team that the story is about in the movie. And he says, it's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everybody would do it. The hard is what makes it great. And I believe that. I don't think the quote doesn't say hard is fun, right? It doesn't say hard is easy, right? It can't be. Hard is hard. Easy is easy, right? It doesn't say hard will be enjoyable, but the hard is necessary. The hard is what makes it great. And so if you think about your life and look at it at the same time as I'm telling you about my basketball team, and you've been losing and losing and losing and losing and losing in life like they did their freshman year. And then their sophomore year, I didn't have the pleasure of being their coach. Unfortunately, that's when I was sick. And so one of our other teachers and coaches at our school took over, and they actually were co-champs in league and went into the playoffs, and were in the first round, I think, or maybe they had to do a play-in and won that to then get into the playoffs. And then they lost. But, what a cool turnaround, right? To become league co-champs and get to play in the playoffs. Last year, as juniors, I was their coach again. We only won 4 regular season games, but 3 out of those 4 were against better competition, higher division opponents. And so our strength of schedule, even though we lost every single one of our league games. So the way they do it now is because they were co-champs their sophomore year, they put us in a better league last year, and we lost every game. However, I was so proud of them last year. I told that team that they were one of the favorite teams I've ever coached, because with all those losses in league, again, who are you when you lose, right? How do you act? How do you treat people? Do you give up, or do you go back to work, on the things that, you need to get to work on? And this team showed up every day. And so we got into the playoffs last year, even though we only had 4 regular season wins, and we won the first round. And then we had to go to, this school, Warner High School in Warner Springs, which happens to be an hour and a half away from us, for the quarterfinals, because Warner was a higher seed than us, and they destroyed us. They beat us by 20 points. And our season was over, but the girls were so happy, and so was I, because I was so proud of how they carried themselves throughout the season. And I was so pleased and just so honored to be their coach, and the way they just responded and did their best to do what I asked them to do. And it was hard. I am competitive. I am very, very competitive. And, I played softball since the age of 9 through college. I got a Division I college softball scholarship to play at USD, University of San Diego. So I've been playing softball a long time, 9 through 21, whatever I was when I graduated from college. And basketball, I only played from like middle school, 7th and 8th grade through high school. And that was it. But I had the pleasure of being on a lot of good teams in high school. And like rec ball, it was kind of like we lost a lot too. And my coaches talked about how important it was to be a good loser and a good winner. And I was not a good loser. I'm going to tell you that right now. I would pout, and yeah, it was ugly. It wasn't cute at all. But over time, I recognized the importance of being both, to be a good loser and a good winner. And so I was just so proud of the girls and how they acted when they lost. They were upset, they were frustrated, and so they went back to work. And so, I want to pause and just take the opportunity to ask you a question that I would love for you to reflect on. And that's this: like, when you lose, do you go back to work? Do you pout? It's okay to do that, right? The immediate response to losing, to things not going well, is going to be some probably really, really tough emotions. How long do you stay in that before you get up and you start working? And some situations are going to be harder than others to get up from. And there's no doubt about that. Trauma is real. Hard times are real. This life doesn't always give us everything we want. And so we are going to get knocked down. And it may sound corny, but honestly, are you willing to get up every time you get knocked down? And the thing about this team is they kept getting back up when they got knocked down. They just refused to give up. And so this season came along where those seniors are now, those freshmen that lost every game are now seniors. And we're getting our butts kicked at the beginning of our season that just ended. But there is a spark in this team that I was able to recognize. And I told them early on, even when we were losing, I said, if you keep working, this team has the opportunity to do something special. And I was specifically thinking about winning league. Honestly, at that time, CIF was a dream. It was definitely a hope. It was definitely a goal. But I was more focused on us winning league. And so then our league came around, and I was like, we can do this. And then we lose our first league game by 1 point. And we play awful. We had horrible energy. We weren't ready. And so we got beat by a point, and the girls were really, really upset. And I told them I was glad that they were upset. And listen, my students, my athletes know I'm going to give it to them real. I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff. I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff for you. I'm going to tell you what's real and raw, because I believe that's the only way that we can learn and grow. We don't have to be mean in the real and rawness, but we do need to tell the truth. And so I told them, I'm glad you're upset. I'm glad you're pissed, because we did not deserve to win that game. We deserved to lose because we didn't come ready. And then, oh my goodness, did they turn it around. We won multiple games. And then we played against the team that was number 1 in our league, and we lost to them. But then we got another opportunity. Well, let me go back. So that the number 1 team that we lost to in our league, we deserved to lose that game too. We had 23 or 25 turnovers. We were 3 from 17 from the free throw line. We didn't play good enough to win. We deserved to lose that too. And that game, they were sore losers. They were like trying to blame the refs and everything. I said, y'all are mad at the wrong people. They said, who are we supposed to be mad at, ourselves? I said, yes, 100%. There's no way that we can play like that and win. And so that's another lesson. When we lose, do we start pointing the fingers at other people, at different things that are the issue? Or do we look at ourselves in the mirror and say, what do I need to fix? What was I not prepared for? What can I do better? And not in a way that puts us down and beats ourselves up, beating ourselves up is never going to do a thing for us. It's a futile process. So not to beat us up, but to truly recognize what is it that we need to work on. And the truth of the matter is we clearly had things that we needed to work on. So we went to work and we got to play that first team that we lost by 1. We got to play them again. And ooh, were the girls ready. Oh my goodness. They played out of their minds and we beat them by a lot of points, a whole lot of points. And it was their opportunity to be like, okay, we lost by 1. We didn't come ready. So we changed up all of that. We had great energy in the warm-up. They were having fun. They were playing good defense. Everything that we did wrong, they did right. And they got to see that. They got to see that if they do the right things, that good things can happen for them. And that has been my message to them the entire season. I want my athletes to play basketball the right way. Not every school that we play against plays basketball the right way. By the right way, I just mean fundamentally sound. So on defense, not reaching, but moving our feet, right? Talking to each other defensively, staying down, really communicating to each other, and then being aggressive offensively. Be willing to make mistakes, but making those mistakes being aggressive, not timid. And I've been telling them that all along, if they do that, good things will happen. And then they started to see that for themselves. So we win a bunch more games in league, but we don't win league. The number 1 team remains the number 1 team. We lost to them twice. And so we don't win league. And the girls are upset by that. They were upset when we lost to the number 1 team again. But I saw an opportunity for the next special thing. And we went into the playoffs as the number 4 seed. I didn't want the number 4 seed because despite what I'm telling you that the hard is what makes it great, I knew that if we were the 4 seed, we would have to go against the number 1 seed prior to the championship. And that number 1 seed, Warner, the same team that whooped our butt the previous year in the quarterfinals. So, we got a first round bye because we're the 4th seed. So then in the quarterfinals, we played a league opponent who we beat twice, but it's really tough to beat a team 3 times. And so I told the girls, you are not going to walk into the gym and win. And I think that's a good lesson for any of us. Like, you don't walk into a place and win. You got to do the work, right? For basketball, a lineup is just a lineup. On paper, a certain team can look a certain way, but you have to go on the court and perform. And that's the same thing in life. We know this. Nobody's going to give us anything. We have got to go and do the work. We have to show up and show out. We have to do the hard things because the hard things is what gets you to where you're trying to go. Please understand that. If your route is easy, your life is going to be very hard. But if you do the hard things, your life can be really easy and really fun, and you can accomplish a lot of things. And so we win that quarterfinal game, but at the end of the first quarter, it was 2-2. And I was like, I tried to tell y'all. I tried to tell you, they know us well. They're prepared, right? And so when people know you well in terms of a competitive situation, they are going to play you better than anybody else. And they did. We ended up winning that game by 20 points. And then we go into the semifinals. And here we are, having to face the number 1 seed. And I told the girls, I said, look, they have all the pressure. They're supposed to beat us. We have the hard work to do. Even though the pressure is on them, the hard work is on us. We have to travel again to their school, to a team that beat us handedly the year before. And we have to try and pull an upset by beating the number 1 seed. And we did. We won by 1 point. And boy, were they mad. And I don't really appreciate what I heard. And I don't know if this is true. But supposedly, the coach said that, how did we lose to this team? They suck after the game. I don't know if that's true. If it's not true, thank goodness. That's not a good thing to teach your athletes. If it is true, I just want to go back to the hard is what makes it great. Give us the credit that is due. We played you tough. you weren't ready for the kind of defense that we play. They scored a whole lot less points than they've been used to scoring in their season because of our defense, and we were ready for them. And the girls just worked and worked and worked. One of our best players injured her ankle in the game, and I was like, oh, shoot, this is going to be super, super tough. But she got on the bench and she started wrapping her own ankle and was like, Coach, I'm ready to go back in. I said, I'm sorry, what did you say? And I said, are you sure? And she's like, I'm ready. And I was like, okay. This girl went back on the court and did so many good things for us. She was instrumental in us winning. It was truly, truly incredible. And so we walked away being able to go to the championship game. And who do we have to face? The number 2 seed. And so we went into that championship game. And this team was tough defensively. Very much the same identity as us. Doesn't have a great offense, but defensively is where they get a lot of their points. And we were not playing well. And credit goes to the team that we were playing. The reason we weren't playing well is because they were playing fantastic defense on us. And we were down by 6 points, and it felt like a million. But then the conversation that happened with the team was huge. I, as well as one of our captains, talked to the team and said, look, we got nothing to lose here. This is it. And for the seniors, it was it. And we were down. We hadn't played well. And I said, look, we haven't even played the kind of defense that is our identity. We are annoying. We are frustrating on defense. We make it hard on people. And we haven't done that the whole game. And then they did. And we go on a 10-1 run to win the CIF championship. From no wins their freshman year to a CIF championship their senior year. They went through what was hard. So, you might be going through something hard right now. You will go through something hard eventually. And I'm just here to tell you, it's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. The hard is what makes it great. Anything great that you want to do in this life, you are going to have to go through the hard. You are going to have to face hard emotions. You are going to have to do the hard work. But to have great things, you have to do what is hard. So, for all the goals, all the dreams, all the hopes you have in your life, do what is hard, and you will have great things. And I'll see you next time.